So, hello everyone, and welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to show you what I was working on over the Christmas break, which was a Formula E, a sort of a mock-up. Well, it's a mock-up really of what a Formula E game could look like. Now, first of all, before I get into the game, first of all, Happy New Year, 1st of January. This is the first video of 2019. So yes, Happy New Year. Secondly, now, if you're an F1 fan, you may remember, or not remember, that I did an F1 2018 mock-up. But if you haven't seen that already, I will leave an eye to the top right of the corner, and that will take you to the video that to the 2018 game that I did. I might do one for 2019, but I will need stuff that needs changing and other stuff, so I might do some more other mock-ups for 2019. I haven't yet made a decision, but that's going to be months down the line when 2019 gets really announced, because now it's just about making suggestions, which I will try and get some more 10 more things that we really want in F1 2019 out before the weekend, but I'll see how we get on. But yes, as you can see, I've had to use Formula. If you remember back to the F1 2018 mock-up, that I did. Basically, I got screenshots from the actual game, but unfortunately, there's not screenshots from the actual game that I have. So I used Formula E programs. As you can see, we've got Paris here, the Paris E-Prix. Obviously, there's only been one race this year, so basically, although I could take photos from that, you're going to see most of them pictures from the previous season. But anyway, let's get into this, and we'll press what would be a starting thing and move to the home screen, where you can see we have obviously 4 tabs: home, race, online, settings. I'll go through each of those 4 tabs through the video. Obviously, we've got a bog standard career mode. That will be the biggest selling point of the game to begin with. Obviously, being able to switch teams, do all the stuff that you'd be able to do now in a normal F1 game, you should be able to do in a Formula E game. So yes, you can see there we've got with Venturi at that particular time. The next race is Rome, but you could be any number of to be 12 teams next year. But potentially we could see, like, I know there was an idea from FIFA where they were going to just have a license and then renew that license every year, so you'd pay a subscription fee basically. And basically what that would happen is, when the new season would happen, you would get the latest content downloaded as, it would be like a paid DLC. That's what it would be like. It would have the next thing, and it would overwrite the game files with the new content. Potentially that's what could happen, and they could then add the new races, new tracks as and when they get surveyed. See there, we've got a quick race at Long Beach. Now, since I did that mock-up of F1 2018, we've had F1 mobile gaming, which has those goal races thingies, which I forgot what they actually called them, but they're basically like a 3-lap race or a 5-lap race, or even a 1-lap race. You've got to set a certain amount of time. I think they've hit the nail on the head with that. Getting people playing the game for a short amount of time, because it's quick gameplay, as opposed to a career which goes on for 10 season F1. I don't know, Formula E could go on for 10 seasons. They could get 10 seasons in this game as well, potentially. But anyway, the idea that could be an idea, and have some other stuff like FIFA has developed some like you can change the rules, and basically it'd be more like a Forza thing, but with the obviously be able to introduce snow. That would be great to see Formula E cars driving around the snow, even in the desert. It's a video game. You're allowed to play around with whatever weather settings you want. So yes, and obviously you can see there that the quick race has been set to Long Beach. Obviously it can just be a random circuit, but what I'd love to see is, because obviously Monaco is on a 2-year contract, and if they were to have this update thing, you just add the new tracks as and when they come and release, and Long Beach and the other tracks that have raced at in the past but no longer have raced should be in the game, just to provide that variety, because there aren't that many Formula E tracks, and should they add all the Formula E tracks, there's only 12, and then there's only 12 for this year, with obviously New York being a double header, but then of course you've got other tracks, Punta del Este in Uruguay, Buenos Aires as well, they've got Formula Grand Prix that are no longer about, Long Beach as well, Miami as well. So there's lots of stuff. There's lots of E-Prix there, and then obviously they're planning for Sao Paulo. Maybe get a mock-up circuit and put it in the game. Future circuits potentially give the drivers a say on the design of the circuit, all the players. That's where the game could come back into the sport itself. And obviously we've got Live Ghost Racing as well, which is their actual thing that they do. Which basically you set. It's basically you set go lap and set laps, but you don't actually overtake anybody. And obviously a quick link to multiplayer as well, with obviously a range of races. Maybe 10% races need to be added, because maybe like half the levels, because the Formula E races are shorter, they'll probably need to have a 1 lap, 3 lap, 5 lap, and then just go 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. Basically have a percentage of laps, or basically even do what Forza Motorsport does, where you get to choose the number of laps up to the full amount. So that could be something that give the player more control over which laps, how many laps that goes. So again, the stuff that from Quick Race would be put across into multiplayer, and these short races would be able to subsequently. So it would be a single player and a multiplayer with the same content in. So yes, let's move to the race screen. As you can see here, we've got a picture of, I believe that is New York. Don't quote me on that. It looks like Brooklyn. And you see here we've got the continued career, we've got the quick race, E-Prix. As I've already said, I wanted the all the tracks I've taken over that have been present in the whole 5 seasons now of Formula E should be available to race around, and as I said, to give that better variety. Also, Jaguar I-Pace Trophy, that is the support series for this for Formula E, and obviously F1, the F1 games I believe are potentially having Formula 2 for F1 2019 come into that game. That's only a rumour, it's not yet to be confirmed, but to have the support series there, even though it is not, it's basically everybody's driving around in Jaguar I-Paces, which is a road car, but still to be able to produce racing that sort, and potentially embed that into the career as well. Scenario mode, obviously that would be a big it would basically be a set of scenarios from from real life Formula E situations, whatever it is, whatever they may be, featuring some of the best parts that have been Formula E. Then, of course, a couple of two things that are really there just to increase the playability of the game. Split screen, obviously. The new Grand Tour game has 4-player split screen, which will be intriguing, but of course it's not in the F1 games, but a 4-player split screen potentially could be good for an Formula E game. And obviously a young driver test, because they just did a whole load of, especially where you'll be able to, for female drivers, because they've just been, it was a female only event in Saudi Arabia after the E-Prix on the Sunday, so yeah, but that could also be open to anybody, could have, basically, and that would be potentially be the getting used to the controls, the tests. It's basically, that would be the tutorial. So yes, or there would be a variety of stuff there from the career, which would probably be the main focus. Then the quick races, which would be affecting choosing the E-Prix, and of course the sports series, the scenario mode. There's stuff there which would probably continue the game for about 6 months at least, hopefully. I'll get on to continuation after the initial period in a minute, but obviously live ghost racing, as we move to the online screen, esports. Now they do currently have a e-race which takes place at each of the individual E-Prix, but that is about as close as they get to having an E-Prix, an esports race. So they would need to expand it throughout the game, and obviously they could move live ghost racing to this game as well, as opposed to having it on its individual platform. Obviously online championships could be a big promotion, especially if you're like AOR or those other racing leagues around the world. That could be the official setup, so you could like register with, there could be a website where you registered everybody through, and then you'd have your different formulas there. Obviously then you got the multiplayer and time trial options as well. So I think that would be a lot for online. There's not really much else you can do with online other than, at the moment, this would just be the base game as it is, and then obviously they could potentially expand online into other stuff that people have been screaming at for years. But to have online championships where the game keeps score for you, you get invited back, it maybe even gives a notification if you're on PC, Xbox, PS4 to remind you or whatever. But yes, that would be definitely a nice thing to see, as opposed to everybody doing the organisation themselves. And the final screen is the settings screen, which obviously you've got the normal settings, you've got the controller settings, the video and audio settings as usual, online settings as well, which will of course as you'd expect for a video game. So I'll move to the fourth one on the top, basically top right, mod settings. Now obviously modding isn't supported in the F1 games, but modding should be supported. Race Department has so many resources, and the game would the idea would be that the game would link to Race Department directly, and you'd just be able to download and it would install it for you, providing the game files have been set up correctly. There'd have to be something, maybe even a private page. Steam is very good with that because they've got the community resources, but getting onto the consoles would be a lot more difficult. Potentially they'd have to create their own page. I'm not sure, like well, it would depend what mod setting it would be. That's the thing, because obviously there'd be liveries and helmet designs, and then of course you've got all the other stuff, like people like go enhance the graphics, they change the point system, stuff like that. Which I mean, they could set up their own website and then just download it, get it downloaded from there, make sure that it works, so that people can, I don't know, customize their career, which is what everybody's doing now with the F1 game. I mean, I've got 2 modded series coming when my computer eventually arrives, hopefully later this month, but fingers crossed it doesn't get lost in the post or delayed by Brexit. And then of course we've got edit teams and drivers, standard, bog standard, a bit like in FIFA. You can swap the drivers, you can even edit the team names, or swap the sponsors even over. That would be something quite cool, but customizing liveries, stuff like that. And obviously creating your own team even could go under that, but that'd be probably a bit too much if we were for a launch game, but potentially in another at a later date be introduction. Obviously storage settings, able to store video content, save race replays. We've been asking for this for years in the F1 games and it still hasn't come. I mean, on Xbox you can't even save your prints, your screenshots. It's only when you're on PC, thanks to the Steam application, that you can set up. But if you're on Xbox, I'm not sure if it's the same for PS4, but for Xbox you can't save that. You have to take a print screen through the Xbox controls. But yeah, and then obviously edit and create drivers, as you would do. You'd edit your helmets, which would have to be more creative than the ones thing. And the final screen on there is the EJ button, which obviously be able to pick and download your own music, maybe even link Spotify, or I don't know, I'm sure they could work it out. Pick your own music, pick stuff like that would be in that settings with the EJ. And that's all I've got for this game. Let me know what you think, if there's anything that I should add. And also, this is the time now also for any F1 2019 submissions as well, because I might do a mock-up for that as soon as the game gets announced. And then potentially, I think, as I said, if you haven't seen that F1, the one I did for F1 2018, the I button at the top will take you to that. But yes, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and thank you. It's just left to say thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year. Until the next video, I'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe as well. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.